All right, we've done our primary corrections in Lightroom. Just minor things, no sharpening, nothing like that. And the big thing was the camera calibration with the correct profile to bring that image out, make it look really nice. So we right click on the image and we are going to bring that into Photoshop. So you just right click, edit in, and Photoshop. Photoshop's going to take a second to open, and when it does, it will give us an image that is what we just edited in Lightroom. And you can see that it created a locked image over here. Before we do anything, we go to File, Save As, and now we are going to remove any prefix characters off of it. We're going to choose the PSD folder. Remember, we had created a photo projects, named them by date and title, and then we created folders in here where we're going to store files. This is where we're going to store the PSD file. You can see right now it's a TIFF image, but we don't want to save it as a TIFF image. We want to save it as a Photoshop document, PSD. And then we are going to embed the color profile photo RGB. And then you click Save. Now remember, we left Lightroom open. So Lightroom's still open over here. Okay. Now we have the Photoshop document there. We're ready to start editing. Now I have some actions up here that I've created, and I believe I gave them to you. If they're not installed or they don't show her, you can click on this little button here, and you can go Load Actions. And you can navigate to the actions, and I have the JJ Custom there. There's also tons of actions online that you can get, but for the purposes of this, we just choose the JJ Custom because it has most of these actions in there. So we have the JJ Custom here. If it looks like this on yours, just click this little arrow, and then now we have each one of these is how we're going to edit. It's our workflow. So we have the primary edits, duplicate layer, and you hit play. And what it did was it duplicated this background by dragging this down to here. But I just made it an easy step, so it's just one button hit. Now that we have this background copy, we can edit. You never want to edit on your background layer that's locked. You always want to create a duplicate layer on top of it and then edit on this. So we're going to remove objects that are annoying. So we have the clone stamp tool, and we stay off of the face, and we only focus on things that are bigger that don't require retouching. So we look around in the object and see if there's anything we don't like maybe this hair back here is kind of a little bit annoying, and it's super simple to do. You hold the Option key, and then you click on an area that you want to duplicate. Like for this one, for this example, we'll probably go right here, and then we could just go up and remove some of these annoying hairs. Now it looks a little bit obvious, so we won't do that. If we select an area like here and we do it in pieces, we can kind of make it go away. And you can do this for the hairs as you see fit, and try to not make it look so obvious. If the clone stamp tool doesn't work very well, you can use the spot healing brush tool, which works extremely well, especially on hair for the most part. And you would trace over the area that you want to replace, and it does the best job of looking around and sampling the area around it to see if it can't match it. And it usually does a pretty good job, but see there it looks unnatural. So we would do this one in sections. So there's a little piece, here's a little piece, and then here's a little piece. So on and so forth until you get rid of all of the hair that you do not like. That did a pretty good job there. I'm impressed. Usually it's areas of contrast where it struggles, so you separate the areas of contrast, like we had the green there. and then the green here from the bush, and then the shadowy area. And you could do that for the rest of the hair. I don't mind this hair so much, I was using it for an example. Command 0 will bring it back to the full image in the window view here. And then you can go in further with Command 1, and you can go back. Or you can hold Option and use your mouse wheel and scroll in. If you want to go back to the full view, you just hit Command 0. For this particular image, it doesn't look like there's too much that I need to fix. It looks like there was like a piece of grass or something here. Normally I would leave this for frequency separation, but it is kind of a larger object. I'll probably try to give it a try here and see what it does. Let's see. It did alright. Okay, we'll leave that and we'll come back to that for a primary correction in the frequency separation. And again, I was using the spot healing brush tool. Healing brush tool is similar, you just sample from an area, you option and then click, and it will sample from that area. But we don't want to do this on this background copy for the primary edits. Might as well just rename that primary edits. And the reason is it will sample the color and the texture, but zits and things like that are on different layers. So like a red spotted zit is on 2 layers actually. It's on the color and on the skin. So we want to target that separately by separating it with frequency separation, which is what we're going to do next. And it looks like we've got just about everything. If there was like a garbage can or something over here we wanted to remove, we could easily remove that. But it looks like this one is okay. So let's go ahead and do that. We're going to go to frequency separation and the custom actions, and then we're going to hit play. And it'll pop up with this little warning, and you'll hit continue. And then for the Gaussian blur, I usually choose about 9 for the this one looks like it's a little bit close. You can see we want to blur out the imperfections in the skin, like zits and things like that. So we'll use 11 on this one, and let's hit OK. Now a couple more things are going to happen in here. The command invert is not currently available, so the way we handle that is it's referring to this red face right here. Just click on that little white box and hit Command I to invert it. And that's all it was doing. On the frequency separation, it's created a bunch of layers here. The high frequency, dodge for the highlights, the highlight the hair, and then the burn for the darkening of the shadows. And then this is a little thing that I created for people that have blotchy red skin. And we'll be able to easily remove that with this layer. Facial blending is something I'm going to go over with, where we actually blend in harsh areas, like especially where these zits are red. We can get under there and blend those with the surrounding area and make it look more natural than just, using the spot healing brush tool. It only takes a few minutes. Then we have Luminosity Painting, which is where we can actually blend in harsher shadows to lighter shadows. So that the transition isn't so harsh. And then we have the low frequency layer. Now, I don't really use this too much, but I can show you real quick how that works. You would take the lasso tool and you would pick an area like this, and then you would go to filter, down to blur, and then Gaussian blur, and you could essentially blur the area of that skin. So that's a little bit extreme, but to give you a point, we had chosen 11 for the radius, and if we preview that on and off, you can see it sort of took care of some of those shadows. I don't particularly use that too much. It is modifying the color underneath the texture of the skin. So we have a skin texture here. You can see the pores and things like that. But I do not do that. So I hit Command D to deselect that. Some artists may want to do it for larger areas that need to be more uniform, where there's lots of transitions in the skin and things, but I don't particularly use it. I take care of most of that in the facial blending section. So the first thing we do is we get on the high frequency layer, and in the next video I'm going to show you how to remove zits.